Te reo ererangi o te mānia. This episode was produced in Otatahi by Plains Media, with support from New Zealand On Air.
Kia ora and welcome to Emergence News. Great to have your company. And my name is Nigel. I better get that right, John. And joining me in the studio are John. Hello, John.
Hello, Nigel.
And Peter.
Good day, Nigel.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How's the health of you both now? I know you're pretty good at the moment, Peter.
Yeah, good.
John, you've had a problem with your back this week.
Oh, I've had a back week. You know,
Yeah.
You get to a certain age and the foundations start to go. And I think I'm at that point in my life. I've had a bad back all week.
Yeah, you've got to respect it more.
You've got to respect yourself more on so many levels, Nigel, and do not give me that old dad look, okay?
Well, I've got a bit of inside information here, folks. John had to get some special treatment on Monday, was it?
Monday, yeah.
Yes, and he wasn't impressed, was he?
No. But I'm back together in a fragile state.
Yes, because it was a couple of programs back. You actually told us how travelling back to New Zealand after your OE, that you literally had to lie on the floor of the plane.
Yeah. I've had a lifetime of back issues, and I guess it could be part of my karmic package. I'm not sure.
Burning off karma, perhaps?
Burning off karma.
Yeah.
But actually, yes, you've just got to accept it.
This program is all about the story of Maitreya and the emergence of the Masters of Wisdom. And we talk about that process quite a bit. And in the back of Benjamin Creme's books, a number of his books, he's an author we refer to. He was the oracle, really, of this story, modern-day oracle, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's part of the forefront or the pathfinder of the emergence. Blavatsky, Alice A. Bailey, Benjamin Creme.
And, of course, he was a reluctant starter. About in 1959, I think he was invited, but he really didn't like the prospect of what he was ahead of him, but he turned out to do an excellent job, didn't he?
Didn't want to do the writing and didn't want to do the public speaking, and yet did thousands probably of public talks, Peter.
Yeah.
Thousands, and how many books has he written? 11, 12, 13? I can't remember.
It's in the teens, isn't it?
Yeah.
There is another book which I read many years ago and my wife just read 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it's the autobiography of a yogi by Yogananda. He lived between 1893 and he died in 1952 in America as a citizen of America. Mm-hmm. And in Benjamin Creme's books, he has a list of initiates, well-known figures over the years where people have asked, what point of evolution were they at? And he lists, and there's hundreds and hundreds of them, isn't there, Peter?
Oh, there are.
And Yogananda is listed as an avatar. Mm-hmm. Now, Creme says an avatar is a spiritual being who descends in answer to mankind's call and need. There are human, planetary, and cosmic avatars. Now, cosmic avatars, an obvious example is Sai Baba.
Yep.
He comes from another system. He's part of our galaxy, perhaps, but he comes from another system, Peter.
That's right. Yes, he does. Yeah.
Whereas I suspect Yogananda is either a human or a planetary avatar.
Yeah. That's interesting around Yogananda, isn't it? Because he doesn't mention that. I've read the book as well and read quite a bit around Yogananda, and he doesn't talk about himself that much.
No, but the book is considered a spiritual classic, isn't it? A modern-day spiritual classic.
Yeah, I've read it, and it was one of the first things. In fact, I was quite involved with the Transcendental Meditation movement, and that was one of the books that they were passing around at the time.
It effortlessly transports you to India and therefore to India's spiritual wealth. And it's a great story, isn't it? The encounters he has and his gurus. It's just wonderful. And then he travels to America. His guru sends him to America. And what an impact he had over there.
Now, being an avatar, he would have been over a 5-degree initiate. Are all avatars over 5-degree initiates? I'm actually not.
Yes, they're all
sure.
masters.
They're all masters, okay. Yeah. All right, so what is interesting about Yogananda is he had no need to do this to come back.
Pure service.
Pure service.
Yeah. Consider this when you read the book, or perhaps you are reading the book, consider the fact that he was one of the masters walking among us in India and America. Mm-hmm. And of course, I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but when he died, there are reports that many of the medical people couldn't work out why there was no decay on the physical body. There was no smell, there was no decay, and his body after a number of days was still in pristine condition. But if you're a master of wisdom, that makes sense, doesn't it, Peter? Because you're all light.
Fully enlightened, yes. You have no more atomic particles in your being. You have all subatomic particles, which means light.
So that makes sense then, doesn't it?
So you are an enlightened being. And therefore the physicality, there's no atoms as such which can decay. Light doesn't decay in the same way that,
physical matter does.
And when these avatars visit our shores or our planet, it explains why they have such an impact. You know, I remember in the late 1980s and the early 1990s, the Indian government were quite open about the fact that Sai Baba's ashram was their number one tourist destination. I've got members of my family, both sides of my family, Lily's family and my family, that visited his ashram. You know, so his impact globally was immense. And there are so many people who still follow Sai Baba. You know, he had an enormous impact on the planet.
Well, they're waiting for his third incarnation, aren't they? He predicted 3 incarnations, right?
Yes.
And his last one was the second one.
That's right.
So I would say
it's due any time.
Yeah, and anyone that's had any contact whatsoever with Sai Baba would have been overwhelmed by his presence. And he did all of that stuff with the powders appearing in the miracles. And quite an interesting story when you start reading about Sai Baba.
Just going back to Yogananda, I'll leave you with a quote of his. He says, if you want to change anything in yourself, you must change the process of thought, your thought. Thought that occasions the materialization of consciousness. He says you will want to change your thoughts when you realize that each thought creates according to its nature. Remember, this law works at all times. Your words and actions continually demonstrate the kind of thoughts you habitually entertain. What's one of Maitreya's key teachings? Honesty of mind. I instantly thought of you, John.
Honesty of mind.
Yes. Yep. Sincerity of spirit. And a quick word on detachment, just for Lily, because she was telling me about the first spiritual book she read. It was one of Krishnamurti's about detachment. So she thought she needed to close the mouth and distance herself.
I think she's right. I think if you were detached, you would have less to say, because a lot of what we say is to be seen, to be heard,
it's out of need,
to participate, it's out of fear, it's out of I'm missing out. So a lot of our conversation is driven by ego and driven by the desire to be seen or heard. And I wonder, and I'm only guessing because I've got no personal idea, I'm wondering if the more detached you are, the less you have to say. You only have things to say that have value or worth in that moment.
And therefore you're more harmless.
Yeah, and therefore you're more harmless.
Okay, guys, What are you looking at today, John?
Okay, so I'm fossicking around in the art of cooperation. It's probably going to take years because every time I stumble across something, I go, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" So I'm still fossicking around in the art of cooperation, and there was a little comment in there that has made me dive into A Course in Miracles. So I'm going to mention A Course in Miracles.
Okay, we'll be joining John in just a moment. And later, you're going to finish the program with some light, with a capital L, aren't you, Peter?
Yes, there's an interesting article here from Benjamin Crem's master. It's called Let There Be Light. And I think in these sort of times, we're unfortunately focused too much on the wars and the disturbances on the planet, and perhaps we need to refocus and not add energy to them, as you were saying, John. Because every thought, we do create, and it has an effect on everything. And are we aiding and abetting war, or do we need to refocus and look at our future and enlightenment?
One of the things that Crem has said around transmission meditation, which is your transmission, you're bringing energy in and then transmitting it out. And his advice has always been to meditators not to direct energy.
Yes.
Right? Because the masters know where it needs to go, but they also know where it needs to be withdrawn from. And I think that's the point you're making, Peter, that actually there is power in withdrawing power. Right? There's power in withdrawing energy.
You are tuned into Emergence News, and we welcome your company. And many years ago, probably at least a decade, maybe 2 decades ago, John read a book called The Art of Cooperation by Benjamin Crem. And John is a big fan of that author. Where you go, John?
I'm reminded, Peter said recently in one of our programs that he's reading a book, and you'd read it some decades ago, Peter, and reading it again, it almost seemed like another book, right?
Yeah, Cosmic Choir. That's right.
And I'm very much the same with Benjamin Crem's book. And in fact, Nigel, you and I had a conversation around Benjamin Crem's book, Transmission Meditation.
Oh, I've read that 6 or 7 times.
And I've read it 4 or 5, and each time I read it, I go, I don't remember that, or that makes more sense to me now.
I remember finishing that book for the first time, and as I was coming to the end, I thought, I can't wait to read this again.
Yeah. That's a super interesting book, Transmission Meditation.
It's a great place to start.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, so I'm at the art of cooperation. I'm fossicking around again, which is my want, and I'm on page 42 and 43. And there's 2 headings that caught my eye. Love, and how can mankind overcome the fear of love? Oh, my goodness. Is that sticky? Is that difficult? Here we go. Firstly, love. Benjamin Crem's asked the question, is it the energy of love brought by Maitreya which will truly solve the problem of competition? Remembering, of course, that I'm in the book Art of Cooperation, and Benjamin Crem discusses competition a lot. Here's what Benjamin Crem comes back with. Yes, but not alone. Maitreya cannot do it for us. If he could, he would, I'm sure. We have to save ourselves, go through the entire process of self-salvation. No one on earth, not even Maitreya, can do it for us. This is a one-to-one dialogue with our soul. We must allow the soul to speak through us more and more and call on the soul's energy, insight and awareness by identifying with it. Now, this is just a message that keeps coming back for me, that we talk about honesty, we talk about detachment, we talk about sincerity, we talk about harmlessness, we talk about cooperation. And I'm sitting here in my little pod of loveliness going, I'm sure that stuff's going to arrive when I'm ready. Actually, no. You've got to reach out and grab it and practice it. You've got to pick it up, right? So Benjamin Crem goes on with, if we never identify with the soul, how can we know it? We have to experience ourselves as a soul in incarnation and more see that as the reality. When it is the reality, the lower man or woman tends to take second place. Now, this is new for me, Peter. I've never understood this. Benjamin Creme says the personality will always be there, but it becomes negative in relation to the soul. The soul needs an instrument, a vehicle, a powerful, clear-cut personality through which to demonstrate. It is not a question of negating the personality, putting ourselves down, losing all self-respect. It is a question of becoming altruistic, more impersonal, more objective. So once again, he's back to that idea of we've got a list of good things out there that we need to be picking up, but we need to be picking them up. I've always thought that meditation or, doing good stuff will kind of make that happen organically. But
you've got to be conscious of it.
Yeah, you've got to be a conscious disciple, Peter.
Yeah, that's right. You need to integrate your soul's yearnings into your personality.
Yeah.
What a lovely way of putting
soul's
it.
Yearnings. I haven't had coffee this morning. Is that my soul's yearning? No, sorry, that's my mild addiction. All right, so Benjamin Creme, second question, and this is the really awkward one. How can mankind overcome the fear of love? Now, when I read that, I thought love is change, isn't it?
Yes.
You fall in love with someone, that means you have to change. So, of course, there's a fear, right? You fall in love, you start living with someone, you marry someone, there's a nightmare of change coming your way.
Major adjustments.
Adjustment. Nice word, Nigel.
Required.
Nice word, yes. Yeah. Obviously been to a marriage counselling. Okay, what does Benjamin Creme say? We can overcome the fear of love by overcoming our fear. Mankind lives by fear, but when there is no fear, there is love. They are opposites. And this is why I went back to the Course in Miracles, because the Course in Miracles posits the idea that love and fear are opposites and can only be expressed one or the other, right? So when your dad was giving you a hiding and said to you, with love, this is hurting me more than it's hurting you, he was wrong.
Yeah, right.
Right? Punishment is not love, Dad. Sorry. Okay, so Benjamin Creme says they are opposites. When you have no love, you have fear, and where there is no fear, you have love. Love is a natural given state. The nature of the divinity of the second-ray solar system. When Jesus, acting as the Christ, said, God is love, that is what he meant. Now, this is really interesting because we've talked about the ray structure of our solar logos, Peter, which is ray 2, and we've talked about the soul ray of our planetary logos, which is 3, right?
The planet itself is 3, but the logos is 2.
2. Sanat Kumara is 2.
And the solar system is 2 as well.
Yep.
In fact, most of the solar systems are 2.
No,
it's love, isn't it?
Back off, Nigel. Benjamin Creme says there are other solar systems whose nature is different. Devotion, knowledge, or will or purpose, but ours is love.
Yeah.
Right? So you would have to be a master of this system, so 5th initiation, before you could go elsewhere, I think, because you'd be encountering a solar logos who would have a different ray structure, and that might be quite challenging.
Yes, well, in our next system, we will be focusing on the will, ray 1.
Ray 1.
Yes, but that's millions of years away.
But there will still be love, but the dominant
but we will have already established the love and, be creative with it.
Yep.
But then the next aspect is to get the will aspect. And, of course, this is what Maitreya is bringing in himself. He says, I will be bringing in the will aspect.
The end of the age.
Yeah, but teaching us how to use it.
Right.
Constructively.
Okay. All right. Benjamin Creme goes on, it is our nature, and when we become the soul, that is, when the soul and personality are fused and blended together, which occurs at a certain point in the evolutionary process, we are able to demonstrate the love nature of the soul. That nature is always there in every soul. Whatever the ray of the soul, love is part of its expression in this solar system, because in this system, all the rays are sub-rays of the second ray of love wisdom. The great teachers can be on any of the rays. Jesus is a sixth ray soul, but he showed the divine love of God in its perfection by being overshadowed by the Christ, Maitreya, who is a second ray soul. The way, therefore, to demonstrate love is to overcome fear.
You know, that story of
staggering stuff.
You know, that story of Jesus of Nazareth being overshadowed by Maitreya between the ages of 30 and 33, it helped make sense of his lifetime and the story of Jesus.
Yeah.
It just changed, everything just fell into place for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, listen, I'm going to really push the boundaries here. I'm diving into Maitreya's Mission, Volume 2, page 557 to 558. Benjamin Cremer's asked, because I've already mentioned A Course in Miracles, Benjamin Cremer's asked, was A Course in Miracles, 1, dictated by Maitreya, and 2, is it to prepare people for the first initiation? Benjamin Creme says, my information is that A Course in Miracles contains the ideas and teachings not of Maitreya, but of the Master Jesus. He conveyed these ideas to a disciple on the inner planes, not incarnate, who conveyed them to Helen Schumann, an unconscious medium, meaning unconscious of being mediumistic. To my mind, its teachings, if put into practice, are one approach to the problem of overcoming glamour and therefore more likely to help people prepare for the second initiation. Isn't that interesting? So I've got my copy of The Course in Miracles here because I've done it a couple of times and I think it's stunning, a stunning book. And I'm going to just pick up on the intro because I think this is really interesting. Here's what A Course in Miracles says. The Course can therefore be summed up very simply in this way. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. So if you are interested in Jesus, and maybe if you want an update on his teachings, think about The Course in Miracles.
Very, very enlightening. And on that subject, you've got a reading, the Let There Be Light by the Master, Peter.
Yes, indeed, Nigel.
Over to you, Peter.
Thank you very much. Let There Be Light by Benjamin Creme's Master from Share International. Each century brings mankind closer to his goal, the demonstration in all its perfection of the light of God. In this way, man can become what he potentially is, a living God. Each incarnation marks a step cut in the mountain of ascent. With each such experience, man adds to his vehicles a modicum of light, subtly changing thereby the vibration of his bodies. When all his bodies are thus vibrating to the frequency of light, the task is completed, the journey ended. From the point of view of man, the journey is over. From the point of view of those who have achieved, the journey has but begun. Thus, each man and woman makes the metamorphosis from man to God. Out of the chrysalis of matter, with all its limitations, emerges the liberated Master, radiating the light of God. Across the vastness of the universe, this light persists. Through all dimensions and planes, it expresses its nature, conditioned only by the forms in which it shows itself. These forms access the light to those whose consciousness rests in the world of matter. But essentially, light is formless, needing no structure to sustain its being. Deep within each one of us dwells such a light, awaiting the opportunity to shine forth. Within each glows the potential of all cosmos. Within each, too, is the will to bring forth the light and thus make manifest the nature of God. That light and that will pertain to the soul and come into activity as a result of soul alignment. Seek, therefore, alignment with the soul and bring into manifestation the purpose of God. Search within and find the source of all knowledge and love. Reveal to the world the light of the soul and join the ranks of those who serve. The world stands ready for more light. The people everywhere are thirsty for new knowledge of themselves and of God. Because of this readiness, the Masters have prepared themselves to inaugurate a new era of light. Limitless opportunities for progress will be offered to mankind. Man will marvel at the discoveries which will open the door to mastery of natural forces. He will stand amazed by the wonder and beauty thus revealed. He will know for certain the fact of God and his relation to that divinity, and will enter willingly into cooperation with the divine plan. All of this awaits humanity as he stands at the threshold of the Aquarian age. This will be an age in which the divine plan will flourish once again, bringing man at last into conscious acceptance of his destiny. Many today would doubt this as they survey a world of cleavage and tension. The problems seem too complex, the divisions too extreme. But precisely then, at the moment of greatest need, comes the teacher, ready to bring new light. Such a one is now among us, waiting in the wings, patiently for the invitation to serve. Release the light that he brings and enfold all things in holiness. Embrace his teachings and bring succor to all in need. Manifest his light and create anew this world.